Come as you are and fit in comfortably. Mr. Mike's. Eat locally, enjoy casually.
Stood at the pinnacle of curling and battled in the most intense games.
Out on the ice, there's no room for compromise.
And when the pressure's on,
every millimeter counts.
It's not just a game.
It's about maximizing performance,
Pushing limits.
Seizing victory.
when victory hangs in the balance,
I know what I'm relying on.
It's a gold line.
it's a gold line.
It's a gold line.
And it's the choice of champions.
You conquered another game, a long day, a job well done, and the final work call. Where your place? Come as you are and fit in comfortably. Mr. Mike's. Eat locally, enjoy casually.
Stood at the pinnacle of curling and battled in the most intense games.
Out on the ice, there's no room for compromise.
and when the pressure's on,
Every millimeter counts.
It's not just a game.
It's about maximizing performance,
Pushing limits.
Seizing victory.
when victory hangs in the balance,
I know what I'm relying on.
It's a gold line.
it's a gold line.
It's a gold line.
And it's the choice of champions.
When it comes to the game we love, having the right gear makes all the difference.
Gold Line's new curling shoes and brooms are a game changer.
The shoes, unbelievably comfortable.
And the brooms, lightweight and effective, giving you control on every sweep.
When I step onto the ice, I'm not just prepared, I look sharp.
Have you seen these shoes? They are a game changer.
And the brooms, light as a feather.
It's a gold line.
It's a Gold Line.
It's a gold line.
And is the choice of champions.
It has happened where people just haven't noticed and they've run out of time. I'm like, sounds good. Oh, overcooked it a bit. Jeez.
Clean! Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going.
Minus 1,000 flash will win Apres curl.
Oh, they're really sweeping this, boys.
They're
really sweeping this. Oh, boy, you can't give up a steal here.
Oh, perfect.
Okay, nice shot from Kate.
Here we go, it's happening.
Yeah, draw for the win for Ryland Kleider. Needs a piece of the forefoot. He's been really good all game. Trevor Johnson on this one here.
Can't hear yet for line ever.
No, they
Line's
like
good.
line. Now does it have the speed? They like the line. Does it have the speed? They're going hard for line. You have to get by this top yellow. Trevor Johnson leaning on it. He's by it. Now does it stop in time? Has to stop in time. What a shot from Ryland Kleider. We thought it was maybe the hardest option up from the booth, but that's why we're not down there.
A long day, a job well done, and the final work call. Where your place. Come as you are and fit in comfortably. Mr. Mice, eat locally, enjoy casual.
Stood at the pinnacle of curling and battled in the most intense games.
Out on the ice, there's no room for compromise.
And when the pressure's on,
Every millimeter counts.
It's not just a game.
It's about maximizing performance.
Pushing limits.
Seizing victory.
when victory hangs in the balance,
I know what I'm relying on.
It's a gold line.
It's a gold line.
It's a gold line.
And it's the choice of champions.
You conquered another game, a long day, a job well done, and the final work call. Where your place.
Last drop. Yep. 8-5. Whoa. Yep.
Hello, curling fans, and welcome back inside the Mary Brown Center here in St. John's, Newfoundland and Labrador, the third stop on the Grand Slam of Curling calendar. It is the KIOTI National, and it is tiebreaker action, women's tiebreaker action this morning between Team Silvana Tirinzoni and Team Sungyun Ha. Both teams battling to get into a playoff spot, and it couldn't be simpler. Win and you're in, lose and you are out. I'm going free solo mode here this morning. It should be a lot of fun to carry this game for you. Maybe a situation that we're not super familiar seeing Silvana Tirinzoni in, but they've had a bit of an up and down slam season so far this year, as they came second in Nisku at the Co-op Canadian Open, but missed the playoffs at the Hearing Life Tour Challenge back in Charlottetown. So we know they will not want to have the same fate befall them here. Sungyun Ha made the semifinals at the Canadian Open in her first slam of the year, so also looking to get back into the playoffs, as we will meet the team, starting with Team Ha, curling out of Chuncheon, South Korea. The skip is Sungyun Ha. The third is Hirin Kim. The second is Tae Yang. And the lead is Soojin Kim. And on the other side of the sheet from Aarau, Switzerland, it is a lineup that we are all very familiar with. The skip is Silvana Tirinzoni. Of course, she will be throwing the third stones. The fourth is Alina Petz. The second is Carol Hovald, and the lead is Selina Vichonka. As that's a lineup change that happened towards the middle of this year. The lineup, as you saw on the screen, is how they started the season, with Selina throwing second and Carol throwing lead, but they decided to make a change, and so it is Selina who will be throwing the lead stones today, but it'll be Soojin Kim getting us started for Team Ha as Team Tirinzoni starts with the hammer. Alina Petz covering the pin, and Sung-Yoon Ha coming just a shade deep with her shot, and so it will be the Swiss team that starts with hammer here in the first. So guard up, which is not too surprising. We have seen this from most of the teams in this field. They're not afraid to get it mixed up early. For Team Tirinzoni, they started out this event with a 7-2 win over Momoha Tabata before falling 5-4 to Caitlin Laws. Then they beat Satsuki Fujisawa 5-3 before yesterday losing 6-4 to Sayaka Yoshimura, which is how they found themselves at 2-2 and in this tiebreaker game. And for Sung-Yoon Ha, they started out this tournament with a crazy 11-8 win over Stefania Constantini. I was on the call for that game, and it was absolutely wild. They got a 3 in the first end, a steal of 3 in the first end. Stefania came back with a 4. Sung-Yoon ended up with a 4 of her own later in the game, and it was just a crazy matchup. And then they went from there to a loss to the Garlic Girls, Team Kim, 6-4. They then lost to Carrie Anerson 8-5. So they were in a must-win game yesterday against Chelsea Carey and pulled it off, winning 6-4. That's how they found themselves here. Elsewhere on the sheets this morning, we do have another women's tiebreaker as well. Christina Black, who got her way into this tournament through that Tier 2 at the Hearing Life Tour Challenge. They won that final over Sayaka Yoshimura, who is a playoff team here in St. John's. They are facing off against Eunji Kim, so would be a huge win for Christina Black. They play quite a bit on tour, but they don't leave their home province of Nova Scotia too often, and as you might imagine, not a ton of points available in some of the events that they play in. And I was talking to Christina yesterday, and she essentially said if they make the quarterfinals here, it'll be just about as many points as they would get over the course of two regular spiels if they were to win them. So would be a massive win for them, also a big boost to their pocketbook. So we'll be keeping an eye on that one for you. And for the men, it's a quick turnaround here. Marco Husley and Mark Muskatovitz both playing last night. Muskatovitz had that phenomenal game against Michael Brunner. Muskatovitz coming out the winner there. And then, of course, most curling fans know that Marco Husley with a great win over Brad Guju last night. But unfortunately, their last stone draw just not quite good enough. And so they find themselves in a tiebreaker. Both of those games are available for you on Home Team Network. So it is Tirinzoni lying the one here. They would have probably liked to roll that stone a little closer to the middle. This does set up a potential, maybe not double, but at least a hit and roll in and maybe jiggle those stones behind the center guard for Carol Hovald. That's not too bad. Get some separation among the red stones. And you can see there that red is definitely chaseable for Sung-Yoon Ha. This Ha team, quite young, and you may not be familiar with them if you don't watch a ton of curling, but They did win the Korean women's title in 2022, and they lost the final to Team Gim this past season. They upset Team Kim in the semifinals of the South Korean Championships. So a very accomplished young team. They also won the World Junior Silver Medal back in 2020, losing that final in Siberia, way out in the Russian wilderness, Krasnoyarsk. Mackenzie Zacharias defeating them there, but they're a great team. They've qualified in almost every event they've played in this year, and they have played in a lot. And unfortunately, they went for the run back instead of the chase. It does open it up a little bit, but they got rid of their own stone, and Tirinzoni lying 2 with the hammer here early. Yeah, this HA team, this event is their 11th of the season, and we are only in November. We know that for a lot of the European and Asian teams, their schedules start earlier and earlier every year, it seems like, usually playing their first championship in the middle of August. And then, yeah, they're playing almost every weekend, it seems. For Silvana Tirinzoni, they're coming off their biggest win of the season, defeating Anna Hasselborg in the European finals. So it's a draw to the open side here for Carol Hovald. Definitely looking set up for a multiple score here. Weirdly enough, this for Silvana, you know, you think of all the world titles and how long she's been around for, been in several Olympic Games at this point now, a world junior title, and had yet to win a European title up until last year, and has now won 2 on the trot. It's been a good year for Tirinzoni overall. I did talk about them missing the playoffs in the Hearing Life Tour Challenge, but other than that, they've been in the final at every event they've played in this year. They won the Europeans, as I said. They also won in Basel, and then made the final at the Shorty Jenkins, the Stu Cells Toronto, and of course the Co-op Canadian Open in Nisku a couple weeks ago. So they'd love to find themselves in another final here, but they'll have to get through Sung Yoon Ha, who is throwing some weight here, but this looks like it's going to go over the top, and indeed it does. So they were trying the double. I mean, even if you hit that a little thicker and rolled somewhere in front of those red stones, it would have been pretty good, but now with how these reds are set up, Tirinzoni is going to have a really good chance to get themselves in a position to score at minimum 2 here. And especially with that corner guard up as well. So an unfortunate miss there for Silvana Tirinzoni. Pulls the string, and that barely makes it over the hog line. So this is actually a chance for Sung Yoon Ha to maybe escape this end. This double's quite thin, but it's certainly makeable. And how about that from Kieran Kim? Excellent shot, gets rid of both and gets separation on the yellows. And now all of a sudden, Tirinzoni was looking set up to lie 3 and probably have a really good chance at 2 or 3. And now kind of starting over here. And it's not looking like a bad force situation even for Sung Yoon Ha. Just a draw around everything, freeze on the top of this yellow. And again, this looks a little light. Hovald and Vichanka trying to bring it. Got to get onto that yellow. Don't want to be beside it. That's not bad from Silvana Tirinzoni, but not exactly where she would have wanted it. And yeah, you can see there, I'm going to guess that Sung Yoon Ha can probably see at minimum half of that redstone from the hack, maybe a little bit more. Definitely chaseable. It's pretty good weight from Silvana, just didn't really catch the curl. So the chase is on. First stone here for Sung Yoon Ha. Kim and Yang picking this one up right away. Got to get by this top one. Okay, they are by it. Can you get inside of that red? Yes, you can. What a great shot from Sung Yoon Ha. They lie 3. Just no great spot to put this to try to generate 2. You're not really in danger of a steal here. You'd have to draw around both of these yellows in the top 8 to potentially try to generate a 2. There's not a ton of room around there, but we do know there's lots of finish in the house. If you can get it there, it will curl in, but not an easy shot. And if you don't get it fully buried, then Ha will have the chase available. So first rock for Alina Petz, 4th rock thrower for Tirinzoni. And this looks heavy. Yeah, unfortunately, just not even really close there for Alina Petz. Doesn't give that a chance to even think about curling. And that's the other thing is, you know, the rocks will catch the curl, but it's very weight sensitive. If you're a little bit heavy, they just won't. And of course, if it doesn't catch the curl, then it doesn't slow down. And that was just too hot out of the hands for Alina Petz. And so luckily for Team Tirinzoni, this isn't a tremendous steal situation for Sung Yoon Ha. Just debating where to put this to make Alina's last shot the toughest. Don't get me wrong, she's likely going to be drawing or hitting against 4, which is not the most ideal scenario. Looks like they're putting this one kind of top 8. The other option you could do is do the same shot that Alina did that shrinks their scoring area. Even if you're not buried, even if you're like half buried, there's no way that Alina would chase after it. And so you're making her essentially draw to the forefoot for her one. Whereas if you put this in the top 8, yes, it maybe cuts off the draw path a bit, but she would have a hit and roll on the one in the 12-foot or may just have a draw, and she's then only drawing to the 8-foot. But I don't mind this. You make Alina look at a different path that she hasn't thrown yet. Final stone here for Sung-Yoon Ha, just looking to block a draw path in the house, lie 4. And that's pretty much exactly where they wanted it. There's no hit on it for Alina, at least no nose hit, I should say. But she can hit and roll this one in to score. Yeah, I think if you're Ha, you might have liked this one just maybe a rock higher, even half a rock higher. Then if Alina made this double, you're probably stealing one. Still a nice shot from the young skipper from Chuncheon, and that's a really good start for them. Alina Petz hitting against 4 with her final stone here in the first. Selena Vichanka on this right out of the hand. This has to roll. Has to roll. Does she have enough of a roll? Oh boy, I don't know. I think she maybe just got it. Was definitely hoping to hit that one a little thinner. That's really tough to tell from our angle. You can see Selena Vichanka trying to hold that, and it just, yeah, hit that one a lot thicker than they were hoping to, but does look like it's the one for Tirinzoni, and so Ha will get the hammer in the second. We'll be right back.
There's a place where the world's best curling not only lives, it rocks. Download the new Grand Slam of Curling app and live stream all the action. Get exclusive content, stats, merch, and more. Let's rock.
I've stood at the pinnacle of curling and battled in the most intense games.
Out on the ice, there's no room for compromise.
And when the pressure's on,
every millimeter counts.
It's not just a game.
It's about maximizing performance,
pushing limits,
seizing victory.
Well, call it the early morning or maybe just my bad eyesight failing me, but Silvana Tirinzoni kicked that one rock off so quickly that I thought it wasn't in contention on Tirinzoni's favor and not Ha's. But it actually ended up being a steal of 2 for Sung-Yoon Ha. So my apologies on the call on that one. It all happened very quickly, so I actually thought that's what made me think it was in Tirinzoni's favor. It wasn't super obvious from the camera. And so, yeah, huge steal for the South Korean team in the first end. Tirinzoni has the hammer once again here in the second. Over on sheet A, it's the dream start for Christina Black. She had a double on her last one to score 3 and made it. And so they lead Eunjung Kim 3-0. And in the only men's tiebreaker out here, who the winner's gift is to play in the quarterfinals and be playing up against Team McEwen. Mark Moskatovitz starting out with a 2 against Marco Husley. Those games available on Home Team Network. No audio, but you can definitely watch them. The winner of our game will move on to face Eunjung Kim. They went 4-0 through this event. Actually, 3 women's teams going 4-0. Anna Hasselborg, Team Kim and Rachel Homan all going 4-0. Hasselborg will meet the winner of the Gim and Black tiebreaker. Rachel Homan will face off against Sayaka Yoshimura, and Carrie Einarson will be up against Satsuki Fujisawa. And for this team and for whoever wins the Black and Gim game, they will have to be out here right away as the women's quarterfinals are going at noon local time here in St. John's. And it would be a 3-game day for either team as 2 guards up for Selena Vichonka. As the semifinals go tonight at 8 p.m. local time in St. John's. So could be a long day facing one of these teams, but they would certainly take it. They would rather be playing than not playing. So another guard up here for Tae Yang. And that's nicely done. Maybe a bit surprised by the second guard, just given the fact that that Yellowstone in the house is not in an amazing scoring position. But I like the aggressiveness, up 2 and keeping lots of rocks in play. The shot stone will be chaseable for Carol Hovald. Selena Vichonka trying to bring this one over, and that is a complete miss for Carol Hovald. And now those 2 center guards starting to look very good for Team Ha. Just haven't been as sharp as you would like, have Team Tirinzoni. We've talked a lot about it this week, but the turnover from the Europeans is borderline insane, and especially for Tirinzoni having made the final, played the maximum number of games at the Europeans, or if not the maximum number of games, at least the latest you could possibly play, then had to make it here from Lohja, Finland, which is a remote town about an hour and a half outside of Helsinki. So for a lot of the teams, it was 2 or 3 flights to get to St. John's. There's not too many direct flights from Europe to St. John's, so most of the teams having to fly into Toronto or Montreal before, so basically flying past St. John's to fly back to it. The time change between here and Lohja is 5.5 hours. So it's been a very long few weeks for Team Tirinzoni. Maybe we're seeing that show up a little bit this morning, and this is something we've seen out of this Team Ha. They sometimes take a little longer to make decisions than you would expect. You know, the options here are fairly obvious, I think. I'm actually a little surprised that they're taking this option. I think if you're throwing a second center guard, I don't know why you wouldn't be using it. I know they're not throwing the run back here. They're just hitting and rolling to another guard, which I guess on its face is not bad. And I know it's probably also that there's not like maybe a super obvious draw path to the pin, but I don't know. I mean, that's a well-made shot by Tae Yang, but I don't know how that makes things that like any better for you. Those 2 center guards are separated by about 12 feet. They're not really run backable. So yeah, I'm just a little confused by the call. It still leaves 1 corner guard up for Tirinzoni. I think if you were going to go after the corner guards, you should have been double peeling them. But realistically, if you're throwing a second center guard, you probably would want to be drawing around it. That would be the reason to throw a second center guard. If you get a miss out of Carol Hovald, which they did, why they didn't use the center guards is a little bit beyond me, especially when that rock in the house is wide open and you know that Carol's not going to miss it a second time. So maybe they were just hoping for this, that they can get the roll back underneath 3 guards. But you got to make this good. Might be your only chance to do it if you're Hirin Kim. So yeah, again, not bad strategy, I wouldn't say, just maybe a little bit confusing. And no roll at all, right on the nose. And so this is the thing that you know, now Tirinzoni is going to come around. They don't care. Now they've got guards up that they can use. Obviously, with the hammer, you don't necessarily want to be playing around the center, but with the 3 guards up, they don't really have a choice. You can't let Team Ha beat you in here. But yeah, again, this is just sort of why I was confused about the call overall. You throw up a second center guard, and then you hit and roll to a third center guard, and you may never be able to use them. But Silvana Tirinzoni's got to make this one good here. Alina out to help now. Yeah, that's pretty good. Gets in there for shots. Maybe not as deep as they would have liked, but it is the shot stone. It's certainly better there than it would be behind the tee line, but definitely gives Sung Yoon Ha some room here. So this is a big shot here for Hirin Kim. If you could get this buried, Team Tirinzoni will be in some trouble, and that is really well done. Tae Yang trying to finish that one off. I do think it's chaseable for Silvana. Maybe we can get the long look here. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, you can see, I mean, that's pretty buried, but definitely is accessible for Silvana. But again, another situation where you're thinking to yourself, this might be your only chance at it. With there being 3 guards up here, there's not a lot of margin for error. So big shot here for Silvana Tirinzoni. Carol Hovald on it right out of the hand. You got to clear 3 center guards here. You're past 1, but cannot get by the second, and that's a key miss for Silvana Tirinzoni. Got a little lucky, though. I think that spun onto the rings. Yeah, definitely spun onto the rings, so... For Team Ha, you know, it's a good setup here, but there's some scary stuff here. There's a thin double to lie 3 right now for Team Tirinzoni, and so I think that's maybe why you're seeing them hit this. I don't know that I would be hitting 4th shot. I can understand, you know, hey, we're up 2. We stole 2 in the first end. We don't want to give up 3, but if you just hit this one, you know, right on the nose, you're going to be outside of the house, and that rock for Alina Pets is chaseable, and you're almost certainly giving up 2 if you don't get a roll here. So again, I have to admit, a little perplexed by the strategy. And this is exactly what I was talking about. I mean, it doesn't even stay in play, really. And yeah, like, this is actually a potential 3 situation here for Pets if she can make this really good. Yeah, I would have favored a tap or guard even, just playing something into the middle. Again, it just seems a little strange, this whole end for Ha. It's like they've changed strategy a couple different times. Playing pretty offensive, throwing up the second center guard and then hitting and rolling to a third center guard, but then changing tactics, playing very defensively and not even really in your favor. Make no mistake, this is a tough shot for Alina Pets, but one you would expect her to make. Again, on it right out of the hand. Carol Hovald trying to hold this. Now they're trying to bring it over. You got to stick around for second shot. Oh, unfortunately, they just missed the sweep on that one. Overcooked it a little bit out of the hand from Carol Hovald, and geez, unlucky for Tirinzoni. Just have not been as sharp as we're used to seeing them so far this morning, and if Seung-Yoon Ha can make a good draw here, they're going to be in great shape. Final stone, Seung-Yoon Ha, second end, has already stolen 2, trying to secure another stolen point here with a good draw. Tae Yang trying to finish this one off here. You don't want to come too deep. Don't want to be too deep. And that's pretty good, but I would think with how deep that ended up that there might be a shot for 2. And no, it looks like they are just going to go after the draw here. Yeah, okay, never mind. That's really buried. You might be able to get at it for 2, but you'd have to be so precise with the weight. This ice is definitely quite weight sensitive, and if you threw anything more than sort of the very minimum amount of weight you could throw to push it far enough for 2, I don't know that it ever curls. Are they considering a potential angle runner here? Alina's at least coming down to take a look at it. It's definitely there if they want to take it on. Be angling in the one on the left in that little picture-in-picture that you're seeing, the right as you're looking at it here. And wow, it does look like she's going to take it on. I don't mind this. I think the draw is quite difficult. It's not a super easy path. You don't have a huge scoring area. You've got to be very precise with it. And so we see this often from skips. If the draw is a little more difficult than your usual draw, and it's only for 1, then you might as well throw a hit of maybe equal difficulty when it's for 2. So that's what we're seeing here from Alina Pets. Would be some special stuff if she can pull it off. Final stone. Sounds close. Sounds close. Will it stay? No. So a great try from Alina Petz, but unfortunately it goes just over the top. And so it will be a score of 1 for Tirinzoni. Ha will have the hammer and a 1-point lead in the third.
There's a place where the world's best curling not only lives, it rocks. Download the new Grand Slam of Curling app and live stream all the action. Get exclusive content, stats, merch, and more. Let's rock.
When it comes to the game we love, having the right gear makes all the difference.
Gold Line's new curling shoes and brooms are a game changer.
The shoes? Unbelievably comfortable.
And the brooms? Lightweight and effective, giving you control on every sweep.
When I step onto the ice, I'm not just prepared. I look sharp.
Have you seen these shoes? They are a game changer.
And the brooms? Light as a feather.
It's a Gold Line.
It's a Gold Line.
It's a Gold Line.
And is the choice of champions.
Really close try from Alina Petz on her last in the second end. Was looking for about an 8-foot angle run back. Did make contact with the Ha stone, but unfortunately rolled out of the rings, and they settle for 1. Sung-Yoon Ha leading 2-1 in this women's tiebreaker draw here at the Coyote National. And I guess the strategy for Team Ha paid off. Definitely a few opportunities for Team Tirinzoni to find their way in, but find their way into a 2, I should say, but they just could never quite pull it off. And so we'll see what Ha can do with the hammer here. They haven't had it yet this game. They have definitely been the better team through 2 ends so far. Over in the other women's tiebreaker, Christina Black had gone up 3-0, and Eunjung Kim got all 3 back, made a really good shot on her last to score that 3, and so that game is tied 3-3. And it hasn't been Marco Husley's best morning. Facing off against Mark Muskatovitz, they settle for 1 in the second end. So Muskatovitz is leading that one 2-1 with the hammer. Exact same score line as our game here. So that shot for Soo-Jin Kim not fully buried behind that center guard, and so the hit and roll made by Selena Wichonka. Freeze here for Soo-Jin. Nothing yet at all from the sweepers. And yeah, it's just a little heavy for Soo-Jin. Chance now for Team Tirinzoni to get a couple stacked up in the middle. So good shot there from Carol Hovald. Just misses her own stone in the forefoot. I think she was trying to get underneath the guard, but they do lie 2 here. Double available, though, for Tae Yang. Good shot from Tae playing the hit and roll there and not the double. I thought there was a chance they might go after that stone in the forefoot while the opportunity was there, but hit and roll works too. Don't think Carol Hovald can see a ton of this Yellowstone, and definitely there's a potential jam, so you got to be careful here. Trying to get to the nose of this. Oh, that jam. Oh boy. It's not bad, but definitely not the desired result there. Team Ha lying one. Another hit and roll here. Hirin Kim. And how good is that? Real nice. It's actually not as buried as I thought. I'm watching the game from the side here and looking at the overhead. Yeah, okay, so that's fully available for Silvana Tirinzoni. Double is there. I thought they had tucked a piece. Looking for the double here is Silvana Tirinzoni, and she finds it. Great shot. Another look at that on the replay. Perfectly made, barely touched by the sweepers. Bang on from the veteran skip. Tirinzoni lies two. Hit and roll here, Hirin Kim. Trying to get underneath that center guard. And that's pretty good. They might have actually overcurled that. The only issue is, again, you might have been tempted to hit the actual shot stone. We've seen this a couple times from this Team Ha, where they are not hitting the shot stone, and we're pretty late in the end. And actually where that one is rolled to, you've kind of set up a double guard for Silvana Tirinzoni, and there's not a ton of risk in her playing the draw here. As long as you lie two, you feel pretty good, and you might be able to get buried around everything and set yourself up for a potential steal. So again, just maybe some rookie mistakes here from Sung Yoon Ha in terms of the strategy. Obviously has not affected them on the scoreboard so far as they lead with hammer, but against a team like Tirinzoni, you have to be sharp. Silvana, one of the best strategists in the game. Got to make this draw, though. This is going to sail deep here. Again, you have to make sure your second shot, but you also don't want to set up a double. And, yeah. Okay, they're not going to try the double. It is thin, but it's definitely there. Yeah, I'd be tempted. Just because you could lie too, and they'd both potentially be buried. But I don't mind the draw either. I do not like the hit and roll. Oh, I don't love that. Yeah, the draw is a better call. You hit and roll, and it's behind the tee line. Oh, they're calling a timeout. We have also seen this from the young Sung-Yoon Ha team, where they're not afraid to use their timeouts early. I think, you know, a lot of teams try to save their timeouts, either to just give their skips some time for big shots in the last few ends, or just because the strategy gets a little more crunchy. Yeah, I just, to me, the options are you throw the double or you throw the draw. I don't know that it's super complicated. I do not like the hit and roll. You hit and rolled, you probably rolled a shot, but if you roll to where Sung-Yoon indicated in the back four, if Alina makes a draw on top of you, you may never get it out of there. So to me, those are the only two options. You throw the double or you throw the draw. So the timeout has ended, and it does look like they are going to throw the draw. Sounds like they're looking at kind of trying to just out-count that back red. Again, you don't want to give anything for Alina Petz to freeze to. If you put it right on the button and Alina Petz freezes to it, then you're probably only ever scoring one. So they want to put this one kind of just biting the top four, maybe give themselves a chance to draw in at some point. First rock for Sung-Yoon Ha, third end. Leading by one, trying to add to her total. And that's pretty good from Sung-Yoon Ha. I think it is open for Team Tirinzoni. You saw Alina Petz immediately signal for the hit, and yeah, that's a good look at it there. You can see more than half of it, definitely chaseable. But again, you could freeze, as Silvana suggests. You freeze and might be very difficult for Ha to score two. So while the hit is there, I think what they were discussing there, and again, my German is not great, but I believe the discussion, Alina's initial Alina's initial attempt, or sorry, initial thought, I just got a little distracted because Christina Black made a mistake, but it ended up putting 2 on the board for them. Her initial instinct was to hit, and that's good. You lie 3 if you do that, but any hit you're going to roll away, and so that would leave the draw path open for Seung-Yoon Ha. So they're calling the freeze here just to essentially concede the 1. Got to be there, though. You got to get by this top one. They do. And that's very good from Alina Petz. And so, yeah, this just significantly shrinks the scoring area for Seung-Yoon Ha. I do wonder if there is a way for her to now play the hit and roll and get second shot. You can also draw, too. You just don't want to give Alina any shot at a double wherever you put your rock in a draw case. So yeah, Christina Black was trying a run back and just kind of wicked off her own and made it in a way that she was not intending to. And so she leads Eunjung Kim 5-3. Hope you had the over in that one. And in the men's tiebreaker, Philip Husley made a phenomenal draw on his last one, facing a potential 3 set up for Mark Muskadovitz, and he couldn't make the run back, and so they steal 1. That game is 2-2. Pretty simple for all the teams here this morning. Win and you're in. Lose and it's a long flight home. Except for Christina Black. That's a short flight to Halifax. So a draw here for Seung-Yoon Ha with her first, trying to nestle in beside. Again, the key thing here is you want to be second shot. You don't want to leave any double for Alina Petz to clear both of your yellow stones. This has to be very precise. Can't be deep either. You'd love to be just right beside the yellow if you can. Just right beside it, and how good is that from Seung-Yoon Ha? Wow, what a shot. Yeah, the double, if there's no guards, the double would be there, but I don't think Alina can see enough of that. That is just phenomenal shot making from Seung-Yoon Ha. And 3 is not out of the question here either, because you could actually come off of the red and likely roll in for 3 too. So Alina has to make some sort of play on these yellow stones, but my goodness, it's not easy. I think they have nothing on the other side for the double, and you can see there, so what they're trying to do is they're trying to come around and hit their red one up onto the yellow that Seung-Yoon Ha just threw to try to hold them to 1. I think if you do that, Seung-Yoon Ha still would have the hit and roll in, but it would be, depends where this red rock ends up after you run it in. But yeah, not a lot of margin for error here for Alina Petz. You gotta hit this red one fairly thin, and you gotta navigate 2 guards up front. She cannot see a lot of this from the hack. This is one of those, you throw it and trust that it will curl and get there. So final stone, and it's a big one. Carol Hovald on this right away. This is flirting with that guard. They're by. And wow, that's really good from Alina Petz, because it gets rid of that red stone for the hit and roll potentially. Really good. And it did also kind of maybe just make the draw a little different. No, the draw is definitely there for Seung-Yoon Ha. With that red there, it maybe shrinks the path slightly to what you just threw, but yeah, I mean, you just threw it. I think for Seung-Yoon Ha, you're going to feel pretty comfortable or as comfortable as you can be for a draw where you have about 8 inches of margin for error. You just need to touch the button here if you're Sung-Yoon Ha. So you got about a foot. Not a lot of room, but if she duplicates her last shot, she will score 2. Final stone. Very similar line to her last one. Needs it to slow down. Yes, what a shot from Sung-Yoon Ha. Phenomenal touch. Barely touched by the sweepers. Just gets that little kiss off the top red and it spins in for 2. Tremendous end for the South Koreans. They take a 4-1 lead.
I've stood at the pinnacle of curling and battled in the most intense games.
Out on the ice, there's no room for compromise.
And when the pressure's on,
Every millimeter counts.
It's not just a game.
It's about maximizing performance.
Pushing limits.
Seizing victory.
when victory hangs in the balance,
I know what I'm relying on.
It's a gold line.
It's a gold line.
It's a gold line.
And it's the choice of champions.
Well, that's the very definition of a skip's deuce there for Sung-Yoon Ha, making two phenomenal draws right to the same spot. Needed just a piece of the button both times, was able to pull it off. Just tremendous control, great rock management from both the sweepers, and the South Korean team now leading 4-1 over the world number 2 in Silvana Tirinzoni. Team Ha, world number 12 at the moment. Or sorry, 14. So there is a disparity in the world rankings, but there's also a disparity on the ice this morning, and it's a little different than the rankings are. Ha has definitely been the better team here so far. First one in the house for Soo-Jin Kim, corner guard up for Selena Vichonka. We'll see if Tirinzoni can find their way back in here. They just really haven't had an end set up, I think, the way they would have wanted. Definitely had their chances for two in the second end, but you never really felt at any point like they were in a great situation. Obviously giving up that steal of 2 in the first, and then in the third, Ha was in control for the most part. So this will be interesting to see if they can just kind of manage the game a little better. It's come down to misses too, really. They haven't been as sharp as we usually expect. That's a nice pair there from Selena Vichonka. Corner guard up and draw right around. And again, looking like Ha's going to throw another center, which you don't often see when a team is up by 3. But hey, if it's working, keep the pressure on. I don't mind it, especially with the way Tirinzoni is playing so far. Guard up for Tae Yang. Unfortunately for them, did over curl a little bit. So it does leave that guard closer to the house exposed, and the run back is there for Carol Hovald. Good look at it there. I would imagine Carol can see all of that Yellowstone from the hack. Just a reminder, you may have seen during the last ad break that the Rock Shop is here at the Mary Brown Center as Carol Hovald drives that right through the hole. Also available online. Got lots of great clothes, tons of new designs. Every event we're rolling out new things, new ideas. The Goo shoes were a real hit here at the Mary Brown Center. Brad and his team did a surprise signing of the shoes yesterday. And they're pretty cool, pretty comfortable, have to admit. Got mine signed as well, and might be auctioning those off for charity. Stay tuned for that. But we had, we've had a lot of people loving them, and they are going to be online as well. So, wow, what a great shot there from Tae Yang. Makes the double and rolls to a center guard. Just tremendous play so far this morning from Sung Yoon Ha. But all of that merch available. We know Christmas is coming up. Head on over to therockshop.net and get a gift for the curling fan in your life. And of course, if you're here in St. John's with us this weekend, maybe didn't feel like coming to the rink this morning, so you're watching on the stream, the Rock Shop will be open all weekend long as well. And that's lovely touch from Carol Hovald. Just squeaks by that center guard, gets a hair inside roll. You can see there, they can definitely see a piece of this. I like that too. They're just aggressive, this South Korean team. They're like, we could just draw around everything. Again, I think sometimes a team with a 3-point lead, you might chase that red, or you might throw the double run. But going around everything here, I like it. So we're into third stones here in the fourth end. Keirin Kim. They're calling light out of the hand, Kim and Yang. And if it's light, that could drastically change the line. They got to get by two center guards here. By the first, but I don't know that they're by the second. No, they are not. Just smudges off. And so now finally, maybe for Team Tirinzoni, a beam of light shining through the darkness that has been this game so far. We just really haven't seen too many misses from Sung Yoon Ha. And kind of feels like now that you've got one, you really got to make this and get yourselves set up. So I think the discussion was just about whether they want to roll away to the wing or whether they want to kind of keep it right there. I think Silvana would be able to see most of this from the hack. Yeah, there's a good look at it there. You could definitely roll inside if you wanted to. I think they're going to roll outside. I think they're worried, number one, if you leave it there might be some kind of run back double. The other is sometimes if you make this, you might bait Ha into trying to draw again, and if she ever misses it or puts it in a spot where you could get at it, you might be setting up three. So I like the call to roll away, although I'm not sure that they're going to be doing much rolling away. That rolls all the way under and over and out the other side. So that was certainly not the goal. The double is absolutely available for Team Ha. Again, just a lack of sharpness this morning from Team Tirinzoni. Could be a fatigue from the European Championships, not sure, but we're definitely used to seeing them play a little better than they have been this morning, that's for sure. Also doesn't help when your opponent is making everything when you're just on that sort of wrong side of the inch and your opponent is as dialed in as Ha is, it's just makes it feel like you're playing so much worse than you actually are. So I'm not exactly sure what they're doing here. So they're throwing quite a bit of weight, so maybe trying the thin double? What an aggressive call there. That was a super hard shot. Yeah, again, you know, you're playing really well. Maybe you're really feeling yourself, but that was an extremely difficult double. If you're going to play the double, I think with a 3-point lead, you play the slash, and yes, maybe you give up 2, but now with missing that one, you could give up 3 here. Silvana makes the draw. It's buried around 2 guards. Yeah, not too sure about that call. That was, the degree of difficulty on that was so high. Got to have this one if you're Silvana Tirinzoni. Wiczonka and Hovald on it, and I think that's pretty good. They would have preferred to come around everything, but it's not in a bad spot. Tirinzoni lies 2 here. So they're going to try the run back here. I think in a maybe a tighter game, you could see them draw around everything if they needed a steal or a force. But I like this. I like this call. Got to get rid of both the guards. That's the key here for Team Ha, is clearing the front, even if you don't touch those reds. Obviously, the ideal situation is you make this double run double, but got to give yourself a way into those reds on your next one. First stone for Sung Yoon Ha here in the 4th end. And getting one of them is definitely a good result. 3 definitely still on the table for Team Tirinzoni, though. Yeah, you can see there that red, again, probably chaseable with how high that center guard is, but not easy. Draw around everything for Alina Petz here. Need this to slow down. It's pretty good, but just with how good Ha has been on her draws, there is definitely a way in there. You could ever freeze or just a small tap on that red one, you could steal for sure. think the thing that works for Ha here too is you don't even necessarily have to get shot here. Even if you draw in kind of corner frozen to this red one, be very difficult for Tirinzoni to score 2. Like Tae Yang is down here just measuring up where they would have to get this rock to lie 1. And obviously that would be fantastic if you do it, but I don't think that's necessarily the priority. Just need to choke off the scoring area here for Tirinzoni. Even if you're anywhere in front of that red where it would be a potential jam, Alina would have not an easy draw for her second point. So just need to be somewhere close for Ha. Can't be heavy. That's the main thing here. Made 2 great draws last end. We'll see if she has another one here with her final stone. Cannot be heavy. Oh boy. It's a good shot. Does look like yellow is shot stone from Alina's indication. I think they're in good shape. They were just, yeah, you can see there's definitely no way for Alina to get inside of that yellow one. So great shot from Sung Yoon Ha. I was a little nervous when it moved that red stone that they had maybe chopped off it a little too far, but that is a really good shot. Well managed by Yang and Kim. Sung Yoon Ha has just been absolutely dialed this morning, particularly with draw weight. No great options here for Alina Pets. You either play the intern draw around everything and just try to hit the pin, or you run back 3 stones and try to score 2. Looks like she's favoring the draw. It's not a ton of ice, so maybe just kind of trying to hit her own stone and sit right there. Final stone, Alina Pets. This is definitely hit weight. So maybe actually just trying to run back her red in the top 8 for 3. Not easy, though. Got to get by this top one, and they won't. So, steal of 1 for Sung Yoon Ha. They have been in complete control, and they will take a 5-1 lead into the 4th end break. We'll be back in 3 minutes.
This is the Cornwall Curling Club. It's my home club. I started curling here when I was 7 years old. I decided to stick with curling because I really enjoyed the small team environment. I curled with the same girls from the time I was 9, basically until the end of juniors. So getting to form those friendships with my teammates was really special to me.
I started curling because of my grandparents, and both my parents curled and my brother, so it was just like a whole family thing. And when you walk into the curling club in Truro, Nova Scotia, and everyone greets you, and it's such a warm environment, and it's fun. After school, we'd go, and all of our friends would be there. So it was just like such a fun environment. And I got to curl with some of my closest friends growing up, so it really helped me keep in the game, and we all had the same goals.
I know what curling has done for our family, the opportunities it provided for both my girls. Nationally, we've got to travel the world. It's just a great sport. It's a small community. People, at all levels. Everybody knows each other. It's kind of a unique sport that way.
It's a sport that enables him to build his confidence and to make friends while doing something that he really enjoys.
Right now, at the age that they're at, it's just awesome to see when they come here and they see their friends at the curling club and the stuff they do off the ice too, and smiles and hanging out, and and just enjoying their time with friends.
There's a place where the world's best curling not only lives, it rocks. Download the new Grand Slam of Curling app and live stream all the action. Get exclusive content, stats, merch, and more. Let's rock.
Hello, curling fans, and welcome back inside the Mary Brown Center here in St. John's, Newfoundland and Labrador. The third stop on the Grand Slam of Curling calendar, it's the KIOTI National women's tiebreaker action between Sung-Yoon Ha and Silvana Tirinzoni. John Cullen here with you this morning, flying solo. And it's been a great game for one team and one team only here, as Sung-Yoon Ha has been fantastic. And really, you know, Tirinzoni hasn't been bad necessarily. I wouldn't say that they've been terrible. I haven't looked at the numbers, but I would imagine the numbers would bear that out. It's not like we're seeing a 50% game out of Tirinzoni or something like that, but it's just been how good Ha has been, and Tirinzoni really has not had an answer for it here this morning. And so Ha leading 5-1. And as we know, tiebreakers, the math is very simple. You win and you're in, you lose and you're out. The winner of this game will get themselves a date with Eunjung Kim later this afternoon. We'll have continuing coverage of the event for you all weekend long here on the Home Team Network and on Sportsnet and sportsnet.ca. The women's quarterfinals go at noon local time this morning, in about 2 hours from now. The men's quarterfinals will go at 4 p.m. local, and then the semis will go at 8 before the two finals tomorrow. This will be my last game of the weekend as I head off to Toronto, spending some time with my wife's family this weekend. So I will be leaving it in the capable hands of Tyler George, Brent Lang, and I do believe we'll have some special guests for you here all weekend long on the Home Team Network. So the first sort of missteps that we've really seen from Team Ha is Sujin Kim putting both of her yellow stones behind the tee line. Might be an opportunity for Team Tirinzoni to actually get some offense set up here, and Lord knows they need it. I think if you're Tirinzoni, you probably feel like you need a minimum of 2 here to get yourselves back in this, especially with the way Sung-Yoon Ha has been playing. It's been really impressed with this Ha team overall. We've watched them now in a few slams. The Co-op Canadian Open, making it all the way to the semifinals before losing to Rachel Homan, and there's definitely no shame in that. Now we get Sung-Yoon out to help on the sweep here. They're trying to choke off this corner guard, and they may be leaving another guard up here for Tirinzoni. So again, opportunities early for the team from Aarau, Switzerland. But yeah, just back to what I was saying, you know, this Ha team, so young. They were in the World Juniors just 4 years ago in 2020. They were in the World University Championships in 2023, winning a silver there, losing to China. But they're no stranger to playing well at the slams either, even though they made just the semifinal at the Canadian Open. At the 2020 Canadian Open, they won the Tier 2, which got them into the Canadian Open. And usually when we see a team win the Tier 2, they struggle to get their feet underneath them at a slam, especially such a young team. And Sung Yoon Ha actually made the final in 2020 at that Canadian Open after coming through the Tier 2, which you almost never see. But perhaps given the way they've played today, that is not too surprising. Run back being chased here for Tae Yang. And how about that? Just making it look so easy all morning. Make the double and roll into the middle. And just one of those games, as I said, for Tirinzoni. They haven't been terrible, just haven't been as sharp as we're used to seeing. And then when your opposition just continually is making shots like that, it really weighs on you. Carol Hovald with the draw here. Even though it's been a very busy 3 weeks for these European teams, going from the Co-op Canadian Open to the European Championships to here at the KIOTI National, schedule eases up a bit as we head into Christmas. There's a few events on the calendar for the Canadian team. Swift Current is coming up, and I know there's a few teams here in this slam field that will be playing in that, but for most of the European and Asian teams, this will end their 2024 calendar of events playing in Canada. And we won't see a lot of these teams in action again until January. Big tournament in Lloydminster, the Aztec Safety Challenge, which you'll see a lot of the men's teams at right before they head to the Slam in Guelph, Ontario, the WFG Masters. And for a team like Ha on their 11th event of the season, I'm sure they could use the break. Yeah, I do think this came out the other side for Carol Hovald, and this will be chaseable for Hee-Rin Kim. Just make it look so easy. There was not a ton of room around that guard, and they were playing quite a bit of weight, I think, just to take the curl out of it. And just no mistake. Team Ha been just so good this morning. I feel like that's a broken record, but it's true. Sometimes the record gets stuck on a pretty good song. And really the difference, at least in the stat numbers so far that we have available, it's the difference at skip, too, that is really showing up on the scoreboard. 56% for Alina Petz, which is not a number we typically see from her, and 88% for Sung Yoon Ha. And given the degree of difficulty of some of Ha's shots, I would be inclined to put that number even higher than 88. I know that the scoring system is rigid, but not all shots are created the same, and Sung Yoon has made some unbelievable draws here. It's a really nice touch there from Silvana Tirinzoni. That's completely buried. I think you have to play the run back here if you're Ha. And a reminder, as an ad for it plays on the scoreboard here in the arena, if you're in the St. John's area, even if you don't have a ticket for the event, you can access Après Curl tonight at the St. John's Convention Center, just across the street from the Mary Brown Center here. And the Grand Slam of Karaoke goes tonight. Isabella Vrano is putting her Grand Slam of Karaoke belt on the line, as that's a great run back made for Hee-Rin Kim. And I'm hearing rumors of some performances tonight. Sounds like socks will be blown off of the audience. It's going to be a really fun time, so you won't want to miss it. We had an absolute blast in Nisku with all the performances. Colton Flash, the unofficial master of ceremonies for the GSOK. Winners receive $1,000 and the Grand Slam of Karaoke title belt. So you won't want to miss it if you're anywhere in the area. That goes tonight at Après Curl starting at 10 p.m. Draw around everything for Silvana Tirinzoni. Haas sitting 3 at the moment. Need that to stop for shot. And I believe it did, yep. So pretty good from Silvana. Sung Yoon could definitely follow that stone down. I'm not a betting man, but if I were, I would expect Sung Yoon Ha to make this or at least get close. Her draw weight has been absolutely dialed here today. Well, I did say make it or somewhere close. Unfortunately, that qualifies as somewhere close. Not exactly where Sung Yoon Ha would have wanted that rock to end up. Would have loved to be in front of that red. But just that little bit of extra weight compared with Silvana Tirinzoni doesn't quite catch the curl. They are shot, though. So not sure exactly what Tirinzoni is lining up here. I can tell you in the other women's tiebreaker, Eunjung Kim needed a rescue draw, was facing a ton of Christina Black counters, came up short of the house. So Christina Black had a draw to the 8-foot for 4 and made it. So now Christina Black leads Eunji Gim, my apologies, 9-4. 9-4, Black leading Gim. So looking pretty good, like the team that came out of the Hearing Life Tier 2 Tour Challenge, say that 10 times fast, will be booking a spot in the quarterfinals would be a massive boon for them. And they would have a date with Anna Hasselborg if they win that game. See, I'm just not sure what they're lining up here. I think they're nervous that if they throw the draw, kind of follow Sung Yoon Ha down, tap it back. Yeah, they'd be lying 2, but then Ha just freezes on it and you score 1. And they're just trying to think 1's not really good enough here, but Alina's been trying to line some stuff up with the red guard, maybe trying to run it into the pile. I don't see how that helps you at all compared to just tapping this one back. I mean, I know it's not ideal, but Silvana long been one of the best strategists in the women's game. Just one of those situations I talk about a lot in the timeout. Just staring at the house, and you just sort of hope, well, maybe if we stare at it long enough, either something will change or something will materialize. And I just don't think there is really any great shot here for Alina Petz, or at least, you know, you can make a shot to lie too, but no great shot in terms of long-term getting yourself set up for a multiple score. I think at this point you just have to make this shot and hope for a miss. So first rock for Alina Petz here. 5th end, trailing by 4. And so she taps it back, and they do lie 2, I think. Oh, I don't know. Tough to tell from our overhead, but it does look like red to me. You might, if you throw enough weight and get by, yeah, I don't think you can get rid of both reds. I don't like throwing a ton of weight at it. They were trying to see if maybe they would have a double where you would essentially hit the red one on the left side as you're looking at it out of the rings, hit it skinny enough that it kind of bounces off that yellow one just behind and rolls over the top of those 2 yellows in the back. I just don't think you need to do that. And that's probably the only way you could give up 3. I mean, obviously they're going to throw the draw, and if you come up light or whatever, you could give up 3, but I think I would be very nervous of the jam if you were going to throw that double. It's just such a hard shot, and if you ever hit it too thick and jammed it, you could give up 3. Or give them an easy 2. You know, I think if you make this draw, it's going to be very, very difficult for Team Tirinzoni to score 2. So here we go, final stone, Sung Yoon Ha. Kim and Yang on this one right out of the hand. Got to get by here. You're by the guard, but are you by the one in the house? Yes, they are. Now, do you have enough to move it? Just over curled on them, and so I do think Tirinzoni is shot, but maybe not based on the early call here. I think they're shot. I think it's just a draw for 2. You just follow them down. You could always poke the Ha stone even a little bit just to be sure, but I'm pretty sure red is 1 here. So final stone for Alina Petz a chance to potentially claw their way back into this with a score of 2. It's like Hovald and Vichanka think it's maybe a little light out of the hand on this right away. Oh boy, this looks short. And indeed, it is. Alina Petz just has not been able to find that draw weight. And it's kind of strange. It's a path they had played on her first one, a path that had been played for Team Ha. And they're going to take a look at it here. I think Tirinzoni's pretty convinced it's them, but they're going to measure. Tirinzoni went for a team meeting because I think they thought that Ha would just look at it and say, well, it's red. Again, our overhead is not perfect. It's not directly over the pin, so. But yeah, certainly looks like red to me. Yeah, just been one of those mornings. Alina Petz just has not been able to dial in, and she's been one of the best shooters in the world for so long now. You just never really see games like this out of her, but just hasn't had it here so far today. Oh, this is close. No, it is. Oh. They're going to go one more time here. Okay, this is much closer than I thought. Taking it for a third whip around here. Silvano wants to get a closer look at the dial on the micrometer there. Okay, how about 4 times? Round and round the mulberry bush. We might be looking at a tie measure here. Alina Petz is going to come in and take a look now. In a tie measure, the end would be blanked, which I don't think favors Tirinzoni much. I think Ha would be fine with that. You don't see it very often, but definitely does happen. I'm sitting here saying, oh, it's for sure red, and they've had to measure it 5 times now. And so Alina Petz indicating that it is red. So I was right, and I knew it all along, and who needs 5 measures? I don't care. So 1 on the board for Team Tirinzoni. We'll be right back.
I've stood at the pinnacle of curling and battled in the most intense games.
Out on the ice, there's no room for compromise.
And when the pressure's on,
every millimeter counts.
It's not just a game.
It's about maximizing performance, pushing limits,
seizing victory.
When victory hangs in the balance,
I know what I'm relying on.
It's a gold line. It's a gold line. It's a gold line.
And it's the choice of champions.
Well, it took us 6 tries, but we did eventually find out that Silvana Tirinzoni scored 1 in the 5th, and It was a lot of work for a result they probably didn't want. They would have loved to be scoring 2 there at minimum, as Sung-Yoon Ha now leads this women's tiebreaker at the Coyote National 5-2, and they have the hammer playing 6. Just has been one of those mornings, as we've said, for Silvana Tirinzoni, and specifically for Alina Petz. Has definitely not been her best game here. Hasn't been able to find draw weight, which is also, I mean, we know Alina's a great hitter, but also a great drawer, and you just don't usually see skips of this caliber struggle this much with draws. Obviously, you see a missed draw here and there, but you generally see a top skip like Alina figure it out over the course of the game, and just seems like she's never really dialed into draw weight here this morning. And her opposite number, Sung-Yoon Ha, quite the opposite, has been absolutely dialed into draw weight, and that has helped her and her team establish this 3-point lead. We'll see if they can potentially finish it off here in this 6th end. I think a multiple score here would probably result in handshakes. In the men's tiebreaker, only one out here this morning. The winner will move on to face Mike McEwen in the men's quarterfinals. It's Marco Husley against Mark Muskatovitz. Muskatovitz made a really great double with his last in the 5th end to score 2, so he is leading 4-2. Also the reigning European champions is Mark Muskatovitz. We've got both of the European champions out here on the ice this morning. This is Muskatovitz's first ever slam, so you know he would love to qualify for the playoffs in his first go-around. Up to number 10 in the world after that European title, and you would think that if they can make the quarterfinals here, they may find themselves inside the top 10 when this weekend is over. It's been quite the climb for them this season. They're up about 20 ranking spots. Started the year in the high 20s. They've been playing a lot and winning a lot. And we watched them last night. They were playing phenomenally well. So nice little tap there for Carol Hovald. Team Tirinzoni's had multiple members who have appeared in the Curling Cares calendar. They are a major project partner of the Grand Slam of Curling, the 2025 Curling Cares calendar, available now. Speaking of a great Christmas gift, Carly Burgess on the cover, Selena Negevin, who we saw competing out here this week, also in that calendar as well. It's a bunch of your favorite top athletes in the curling world. And the great part about the Curling Cares calendar, everybody gets to choose their own charity where their proceeds directly go to. The Curling Cares calendar has raised over $850,000 in its lifetime of existence and has supported a great many charities across Canada and the world. You can get yours today at curlingcares.com. Looking for a draw around everything is Carol Hovald, and she'll draw around everything and past everything, unfortunately. Sung-Yoon Ha still laying 1 and 3. And I like this now from Ha, playing a little bit more defensively. We have seen them play quite aggressive, even with the lead and with hammer. And I like that they're slowing the game down a little bit here. You don't need to score any more than 1 if you're Ha. Just need to avoid getting yourself in any kind of big trouble. This will be a guard for Silvana Tirinzoni. Over in the Gim Black tiebreaker, Gim settling for 1 in the sixth end. And so Christina Black leads that one 9-5 with Hammer. They're heading into the seventh. Looks like Gim is maybe contemplating shaking, so we'll keep you posted on that. And indeed they are. So we have our first final here. It is Christina Black coming from the Tier 2 Tour Challenge and qualifying for the quarterfinals as we get a big hug in celebration. What a moment for them. This would be the most money and the most points they've won this season. Huge achievement for them. Not easy at all to come into these Tier 1 fields as a Tier 2 team and play well, and they were great this morning. 9-5 winners over Unji Gim. Christina Black ranked 22 in the world. Gim ranked number 3. So what a win for them. The crowd here, the East Coast crowd, supporting one of their own from Halifax, Nova Scotia. So we will see them later today as they face off against Anna Hasselborg. What a win. You got to feel good for them. Was a tough week for Gim. They were playing short-handed. Family situation kept Yeyun Sol at home this week, and so it's always tough to play 3 in these slam events. But a good run for them. They'll bow out in the tiebreakers. And back to our game. It's still a guard and peel fest here. It's both teams not too unhappy with the situation in the house. So they're just deciding if they wanted to come in the house on this stone. Looks like they're going to guard again. Just with how aggressive Team Ha has played, I'd be curious to see if this guard goes up, if Ha will actually play at something in the house. There's not an amazing setup for them. I think they probably will peel the guard, but you never know. I think that's what Alina Petz is banking on, that the smart play is just to probably peel the guard. Oh, sorry, they were not playing the guard, just playing the small tap. Just with where they put the broom down, I thought they were throwing the guard. And an immediate timeout from Sung Yoon Ha to debate here as Tirinzoni is lying 1. It's a nice shot from Alina Petz. And Team Gim getting a nice round of applause from the St. John's crowd as they exit the Mary Brown Center for the final time. So there's probably a few options for Ha. You could just throw a heater here and try to get a bunch of stones moving. Again, you don't need to score 2 here, so you don't have to go crazy trying to find the perfect angle. I just think you whip this, you try to get rid of the 2 red stones above the tee line. I think that's definitely possible, especially if you throw it hard enough. Looks like they're going to try to come across the face, and that would leave them shot stone at the back and would almost certainly give them a shot for 1. And a warm reception for Christina Black as they leave the ice here at the Mary Brown Center. They will be back for the women's quarterfinals, which are happening at noon local time, 10:30 a.m. Eastern, 7:30 a.m. Pacific. So first rock for Sung Yoon Ha in our game, looking for that double, and unfortunately they jam it. And just like that, Team Tirinzoni is lying 1, not 2, but they could lie 3 and force Sung Yoon Ha to draw against 3, which I think is what they're going to do. There's not really any other option. You could try to draw, put another one sort of right on top of your red one, just around that yellow. But that comes with some risk. You're potentially leaving a double if you do that, and that double would be for 2, and if Ha scores 2, it's game over. So I like this. You're forcing them to draw, and they've got to hit the button for 1, and you never know, things can happen. Maybe you get a huge miss and you score 2 or 3. So the hit and roll made perfectly exactly as they called it. And so it is Team Tirinzoni lying 3. Sung Yoon Ha has not faced a ton of adversity yet, but this would be some of that. Final stone, Sung Yoon Ha needs a piece of the button for 1, facing 3. Ooh, nothing at all from Kim and Yang yet. Can't be heavy. Trying to manage this stone in here, nothing yet. Does it stop in time? Does it stop in time? Yes, it does. A little nudge on the red. No mistake made for Sung Yoon Ha. They lead 6-2.
When it comes to the game we love, having the right gear makes all the difference.
Gold Line's new curling shoes and brooms are a game changer.
The shoes, unbelievably comfortable.
And the brooms, lightweight and effective, giving you control on every sweep.
When I step onto the ice, I'm not just prepared, I look sharp.
Have you seen these shoes? They are a game changer.
And the brooms, light as a feather.
It's a Gold Line.
It's a Gold Line.
It's a Gold Line.
And it's the choice of champions.
There's a place where the world's best curling not only lives, it rocks. Download the new Grand Slam of Curling app and live stream all the action. Get exclusive content, stats, merch, and more. Let's rock.
Is yours on? Where's your card? 27.
It's a commanding 6-2 lead here for Sung Yoon Ha. Have been in control throughout, and for Team Tirinzoni, you need 3 here or it's most likely game over. Trying to find their way into the women's quarterfinals and a date with Eunjung Kim Christina Black already through in the other women's tiebreaker. They will meet Anna Hasselborg. So we're just looking to firm up the women's playoff picture here this morning in St. John's. This would be a second straight qualification for Team Ha at a slam. And they would be full value for it. They have been tremendous here this morning. And for Team Tirinzoni, we'll see if they can find just a little bit of that Swiss magic here. We know that they have the capability to score big. So 2 in for Ha, and I'm guessing a freeze coming for Selena Wiczonka. You could throw a second guard here just because you have to probably score 3, but with the way those Ha stones are grouped in the middle, probably can't let them get too far along in this end. You got to keep your chances of scoring alive. So nice touch there from Selena. She's had a good game. But unfortunately, when you play lead, you can have a great game and it doesn't matter a whole lot. And that may be the case here. And just continues to be great touch for Team Ha across the board. Another really good shot there from Tae Yang. And this has not been easy draw ice to master. We have kind of seen all week long teams struggle with getting their rocks in the correct places. Looking for an inside roll. Here is Tae Yang, and how about that? This is not a good setup for Team Tirinzoni, especially given that you probably have to score 3 here. In the men's tiebreaker, Marco Hustley having to settle for 1 in the 7th end. So Mark Muskatovitz is leading by 1 and has the hammer playing the 8th end. Looking good, like they will be meeting Mike McEwen in the men's quarterfinals later today. Oh boy. Carol Hovald does not touch the pile, and yeah, I mean, for Ha, you're up 4, but you know, you usually think, well, we're up 4. No need to guard, but it is definitely the best shot here. So we already set up the women's quarterfinals for you. The men's quarterfinals, as we know, the winner of the tiebreaker will face off against Mike McEwen, and then it's a five-star matchup. Brad Jacobs against Brad Gujju, two teams we've seen play each other many, many times over the years, but this will be the first time that they have met since the Brendan Botcher swaparoo. As we know, Team Jacobs, their three members, firing Brendan Botcher at the end of last season. Picking up Brad Jacobs. Brendan did not play for the first half of this season, and then EJ Harnden left Team Gujju, and Brendan Botcher slid in at second. So the crowd in the Mary Brown Center will be electric, and they will definitely be maybe a little extra amped, wanting their boys to beat Brad Jacobs. Elsewhere, it'll be Ross White against Joel Retornaz, and Bruce Mowat facing off against John Schuster in a rematch of that round-robin game that saw John Schuster make that unbelievable in-off to get the W. A great setup here in the house for Seung-Yoon Ha. That's a pretty good shot from Silvana Tirinzoni, but Ha is still lying 3. Tirinzoni's going to have to make something happen and quickly. The angles just aren't really great for them either. Ha just looking to blast this redstone here. How good is that? I thought they wouldn't be able to hit that without disturbing that yellow, but they just kind of whisker it over, barely touch it, and that is just really well done by Hee-Rin Kim. Another look at it from the overhead. Yeah, I thought for sure you'd be losing that yellow, but they do not. Team Ha still lying 3. And this is, again, just not a situation you want to find yourself in if you're Tirinzoni. Never mind the scoreboard. This end is just not shaping up well for you at all. I think there's a potential triple here for Tirinzoni, and that would still leave Ha lying 1. Oh boy. Just not a good setup for Tirinzoni here at all. The way those reds are angled now, you can probably only get rid of 1 yellow. You could maybe get the yellow on the right in the 4-foot moving a little bit, but you're probably just driving that top yellow by. So again, don't see teams up 4 throwing guards too often, but it's absolutely the correct call for Seung-Yoon Ha here, lying 3 and up 4. Guard maybe a little closer to the house than they wanted it. Does give Alina Petz the chance to drive it onto these reds. Again, I'm Not convinced you get both of those yellows gone. You get both of them moving for sure. Okay, they're going to hit the top one here. So I think hitting it like this, again, getting those yellows moving, I don't know that you get both of them out. And yeah, they're not even throwing a ton of weight here because they're aware of that situation. So we'll see what happens when the dust settles here. This is Alina Petz's first in the 6th. And yeah, all that does is poke the yellow even further into the forefoot with a bunch of guards in front of it, and I think this game is over. I think if Sung-Yoon Ha doesn't even throw here, I don't know that Tirinzoni has a shot for one. I genuinely do not think they have a shot for one. Maybe the in-off? I don't know. I don't think so. I'm just trying to see if there's any way, and this is without Sung-Yoon Ha throwing, keep in mind. Yeah, I think with the in-off, you're never able to throw it hard enough. Maybe you'd get lucky where you'd squeeze it in off of the top, off the top red. I just don't see it. So they're just going to throw a guard. I don't even know what they're guarding here necessarily. I guess they're guarding Alina throwing a gun at that top situation and maybe removing 2 of the yellows from the forefoot. But again, I don't see any way that they can get rid of all 3 of those yellows in the forefoot, even if Sung-Yoon Ha doesn't throw. Well, I don't think that rock prevents Tirinzoni from doing anything that they would have maybe wanted to do. But, yeah, this is the only shot. You throw the in-off and you hope that you can maybe chisel off of the top yellow and squeeze in, or hit the side of the one on the button hard enough. I mean, you got to throw this like an absolute rocket anyway. Alina Pet's throwing it, but this is probably the last shot of the game. And indeed, won't even find its way into the forefoot. So it's a steal of 3 for Sung-Yoon Ha. And you cannot say that they didn't deserve this one. 9-2 winners, and they were absolutely fantastic here this morning. Just running all over Team Tirinzoni. Did not have their A game. Team Ha made them pay, so Team Ha will be moving into the quarterfinals for an all South Korean matchup with Team Kim. We will be back here in about an hour and a half's time with the women's quarterfinals. You won't want to miss it for everyone here at Home Team Network. I'm John Cullen. Goodbye. Yes, what a shot. People loving them, and they are going to be online as well. So, wow, what a great shot there from Tae Yang. A lot of people loving them, and they are going to be online as well. So, wow, what a great shot there from Tae Yang. And getting one of them is definitely a good result. And getting one of them is definitely a good result. And how about that? Just making it look... And how about that? Just making it look... Putting Horror Grand Slam of Karaoke belt on the line, as that's a great run back made for Hee-Rin Kim. Saying, oh, it's for sure red, and they've had to measure it 5 times now. And so, you know, it's for sure red, and they've had to measure it 5 times now. And so, you know, it's for sure red, and they've had to measure it 5 times now. And so, you know, it's for sure red, and they've had to measure it 5 times now. And so, Alina... So the hit and roll made perfectly exactly as they called it. So the hit and roll made perfectly exactly as they called it. Does it stop in time? Does it stop in time? Yes, it does. A little nudge. How good is that? How good is that? I thought...
Come as you are and fit in comfortably.